G'day. I'm just going to give you a quick update on the Trojan and what I've done with it since it was last videoed. There's a safety check. There's buckets of safety in there, so no one's going to get shot. Alright, so since you would have last seen this, I think I mentioned in the last video that I'd bought a Pardini GT9. And I compared this against the GT9. And in the end, this won out. The GT9 was just too fussy with ammunition, too fussy with what reloads you could run. Even if you had the reloads perfect, you'd have one odd piece of Winchester instead of Lapua brass and it would just jam. So in the end, I ended up selling off the GT9. I then went and got this cerakoted for a first time. I did the cerakoting myself and the slide was gold. The frame was black and all the controls were gold. That looked really good and it worked fine, and I had it that way for almost a year and a half, 2 years. The only thing I had against the gold was every time you'd shoot it, you'd get blackening up the front here, and any dirty hands, you'd see it a fair bit. But the Cerakote as a product, I was really, really happy with. And the controls, nothing really wore off the controls in the time I had it that way. So after I'd sold the GT9 and painted this, I went and bought a SIG 226X5 Series 1 Tactical, and I had that for about 6 months to a year. They both shot, this sat in the safe most of the time that the SIG was around, and the SIG shot really, really well. I sold it to buy a CZ Tactical Sport, which now looking back I regret. I really missed the X5 Series 1. It was just such a beautiful looking pistol. It looked just very tactical and very classic look to it. I had the CZ Tactical Sport for a long time, and it shot beautifully. There's absolutely nothing I can fault the gun on, except for the grips are a fairly wide grip on the CZ Tactical Sport. In the end, I sold that, not really because I wanted to, because I'd moved to a different state in Australia, and the state I'd moved to, the magazines, because they were a dimpled magazine instead of a properly crimped magazine, they're actually illegal in the state. So you had to either go and convert the gun to run normal CZ75 magazines or sell the gun. So I ended up selling the gun, and I bought a SIG 226X5 Classic Series 2, and I have that gun at the moment. I've had it for about 3 months, and I'm going through the initial break-in and review process with that. But I'll go back to this this Trojan now and tell you what I've done with it since. So after having it gold for a long time, I got it re-cerakoted by a mob in Adelaide, a really good gunsmith and cerakoting mob in Adelaide, Australia. At the same time, I got them to fit a fiber-optic front sight, and I got them to put a weld-on magwell, and they beveled it in the bottom too. They went a little bit deep here, but I don't really blame them for that. It's very shallow to make that beveling as big as you can get, so you get the magazines in even easier. But no, I'm really happy with how that goes. It suits my hand almost perfectly. Like, you couldn't have a better fitting hand tool than that. Before I sent it to them, I had this shaved down to make it nice and smooth. I think I might have mentioned that was grabbing in here, so that's been smoothed down. The trigger's still plastic. I've got a metal trigger, and I went to fit it. It's an STI metal trigger, but I couldn't get it to reset well with that trigger. And it's silver, so it doesn't really look very good in the gun anyway. So it stayed that way. I've still got the Wilson mag release. I've gone these low profile lock grips. They're like a G10. They're really aggressive. And the service I got from Lock, the company, was absolutely fantastic. And because they're so thin and I have smallish hands, you can see they're barely bigger than the frame there. And they just fit perfectly. Very aggressive, but they won't cut your hands up, but they are fairly aggressive. What else have I done? I've got this. This is a Fusion Firearms chain link mainspring. That's just a normal steel one. It's not the stainless steel one, and that's to suit the front of the gun there. So you can see they're a matched thing, and it also matches the cuts in here slightly as well, so it doesn't look out of place. I was contemplating getting this painted blue when they did the rest of the gun, but I think the contrast actually looks a little bit better. But no, so Evolution Gunworks magwell, Fusion firearms mainspring, lock grips, and I think it's Evolution Gunworks Fiber-Optic front as well. And so, yeah, other than that, it's been fantastic. Now, I would say I would still recommend someone buying them, or one of these firearms, if they came across one. But I've just found out that STI is no longer going to make 1911s. So that's a bit of a sad end to a very good chapter. I understand they're competing with too many other companies making them, but they are one of the cheaper available long slide 1911s, especially in Australia. And so it is sad to see them not being produced anymore. I'm almost at the stage now where if another one of these comes up for sale and it has not the bushing barrel, I want the bull barrel. If it had the bull barrel from the factory, I would almost contemplating buying one as a spare, because they're just going to be rare as hen's teeth after this. Other than that, I've been running mostly Checkmate magazines. I've got one of these. This is a trip research one. Sorry, I should have looked at that before. They're good. It's got a really nice, Cobra mag. It's got a really nice base plate on it, and it's really positive to engage. I'll probably buy a few more of these if I lose a magazine or something, but these are 75 to 80 bucks each in Australia, so I won't be buying too many of them because they're quite expensive. But no, the gun still shoots as well as it always has. I'm probably in the 5,000 range for rounds so far, but at this stage I sort of have stopped counting amongst buying those 3 other firearms and stuff like that. But no, the gun is absolutely fantastic. The fiber-optic front sight works. I've been doing a lot of service matches, and in New South Wales I've been doing a thing called a modified service match, which is just the back end of the 25 meter service match. It's the 50 meter service match, but it's the last 3 cycles of it, and it's very quick, very from the holster, and this works well for it. This still keeps its barrel quite controlled. There's not a lot of lift when you shoot it, so it works well for that. And yes, it's a sad thing that STI is not going to make them for anymore, but if you do find one with a bull barrel, I can't comment on the normal locking barrel. But no, bull barrel one, I certainly can still recommend it. It's still very smooth. It hasn't become loose with age. Like, that's me moving it, and there's no rattle. You push that down, there's no, that lockup is still tight, and this has done a lot of work. But no, this is about the end of where this gun will get modified now. I can't think of a lot else to do. When I got cerakoting done, I was going to get this here undercut a little bit more pronounced, but it was sort of a money thing. You're running low on money. You can't just tell them to spend another 2 hours, which is another $200 worth of work to undercut something when competitively it's not going to give me a great advantage. And so, yeah, the only thing I could think to do now, I might still seek to get this trigger replaced with a metal one. If I come across one cheap, I'll certainly change it out myself and get it to work reliably. The lock grips, I'm almost tempted to go and get the next size up. These fit very well, but I almost think I could go the next size up, which wouldn't make a lot different practically, but yeah, I think I could just make, if there was an in between this and a normal set, I think it would work quite well. But no, I'm still very happy with it, and I'm at the stage now where I don't think I'd actually sell the gun. I think it'll be a forever gun now. It seems a little bit brighter in that light. I might even see if I turn this light off. That's similar to what it looks like in real life, if that makes sense. Under light, it shines up a little bit bluer, but at the range, if someone's looking at it from across the field, it doesn't look like you've got anything special but a black or a dark handgun in your hands. It's not till someone can actually come up and look at it that they'll see that it's actually got a little bit of colour to it. But no, it's quite subtle. The person I sent it to get the cerakoting and the magwell put on, they did ask. They said, look, is this what you want? They wanted to do it the other way around, where it was like bronze was on here and this is the Caltech blue was on the slide. And I said, no, we'll go this way. And I've got a 45 that I'm actually thinking about sitting down and getting it done the opposite, so they're sort of a match pair. But no, still very happy. I can still put my recommendation behind it, but it's a sad thing to say that STI is not going to make them anymore. All right, goodbye.